Hey guys, this is God of Politics. Welcome back to a brand new video. We are now at 331 subscribers. Can we get to 500 subscribers by election day? Please like this video and subscribe to the channel so we can get there. Also, join the Discord that is linked down in the description and check out the website that is linked down in the description. But in today's video, I will be doing my updated Senate Battleground map. Today's date is September 17th, and I will be doing my updated Battleground map for the Senate. There are many interesting Senate elections coming up. Democrats, at the beginning of last year, at the beginning of even this year, didn't look like they had the best chances of winning the Senate, but now they have good recruits, and they are looking at taking back the Senate. The current Senate makeup is 53 Republicans, 45 Democrats, and 2 independents that caucus with the Democrats, and there are more Republican seats up this year than there are Democrats, so I'm just going through each one of these seats, seeing how I think they're going to go. Can the Democrats take the Senate? So, starting off, as always, I will start off with the safe Republican states. That includes Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, as well as Kansas. I am moving into the safe column. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. So that adds up to 43 safe seats for the Republicans. And then for the Democrats, I do believe they will win Oregon safe, Illinois safe, New Mexico safe, as well as Virginia safe, New Jersey safe, Delaware, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. So that adds up to 44 safe seats for the Democratic Party and 43 safe seats for the Republican Party. Now, getting to the likely, lean, and tilt states. First, starting off for the Republicans, I do believe they will win the state of Alaska by likely margin. You have Dan Sullivan here, the incumbent Republican, going up against Al Gross, who is an independent who would caucus with the Democrats. He's not doing too well in fundraising, Al Gross, but polls have showed it a little bit closer, and Alaska's a weird state. I think it may be a little bit closer for this election, as well as the state of South Carolina. I do expect to be a little bit closer. Jamie Harrison is, he's a good candidate. He's a good fundraiser, and Lindsey Graham isn't that good of a candidate. He's pretty unpopular in the state, but it is a traditionally red state. It is a very red state, and so I do expect Lindsey Graham to still be able to win quite easily. Texas is another state. Now, John Cornyn is a much better candidate than Ted Cruz. He's less polarizing, he's more popular, and he is not running in a wave year like 2018 was. But, some polls have shown it a little bit closer, but there isn't as much money being put into the state. I think this will be on the cusp of being safe, but it is a sign that the state overall is trending towards the Democrats, so I do expect that to go by a likely margin. I also am going to put the Georgia special election at a likely margin. You do have Doug Collins versus Kelly Loeffler versus Raphael Warnock versus Matt Lieberman. It's hard to really say what the margin is for these states, but I do think that Kelly Loeffler is probably going to win. She's going to do better in the suburbs, I believe, winning by around, 6 or so points against Doug Collins, who I do believe at this point would come second. Close behind him in third, I do believe will be Raphael Warnock, but once we get some more polls, something like that, I think it might be easier to predict that race. So that's all the likely margin states for the Republicans. They're already at 47 seats. For the Democrats, I do believe they will win Michigan by a likely margin. You have Gary Peters here, who is a very generic Democrat running against John James, who is a good candidate, actually doing very well in fundraising against Gary Peters. But you have to look at the fact that, even John James' own internal poll had him down 1 against Gary Peters, and that's an internal poll. The polling average overall has Gary Peters up 6 or so percentage points, maybe even more than that. And so I do expect Gary Peters to be able to win quite easily. For John James to be able to win, Donald Trump would have to win the state by around 2 percentage points, and I don't even think he's going to be giving that close to winning the state at all. So I do expect that to go by a likely margin to Gary Peters. I also believe the state of Minnesota will go by a likely margin. The state of Minnesota, is a state where you have Tina Smith, who's not the most popular figure, not the best candidate, and she's doing very well in fundraising. I believe she has like a 7-1 cash on hand and fundraising advantage against Jason Lewis. And the suburb trends in Minneapolis, St. Paul are in her favor, and I do expect them to help her carry over the line by a likely margin. I'm also going to be moving Colorado to the likely margin. I had this at lean for a while, but we had consistent polling showing it by around likely to safe margin, and despite all the gaffes, not necessarily gaffes, but despite all the scandals John Hickenlooper has had, he is the former governor. He's very popular. Colorado's a blue state. Cory Gardner's not very popular. He's very close to Trump in a lot of senses, and I don't think that's very good for him at all. And now I am finally moving this into the likely column. So after the likely margin states, it is very close. Democrats are at 47. Republicans are at 47. Getting straight into the lean margin states, I believe Montana is a lean margin state. I believe as the days go by, I believe Steve Bullock Bullock is less likely to win. We haven't had many polls from this state in a while, but, Steve Daines is doing pretty well in fundraising. Montana is a traditionally Republican state. National politics are different from state politics, even though in 5 of the last 6 elections, Democrats have been sent to the Senate by Montana. That doesn't mean Steve Bullock is going to win this time, but all of those factors considered, which actually are pretty good for Steve Bullock, I do expect Steve Bullock to make it close, but losing by around a lead margin. Maybe if we see some more polls, the new fundraising numbers come out on the 22nd, I could change my prediction, but at least for now, I am putting that at lean Republican. And then the only lean margins, actually, I'm also going to add Georgia to the lean red column. You have Jon Ossoff here, the Democratic challenger, versus David Perdue here. David Perdue's not that great of a candidate. He won by less than Mitt Romney in 2014, which was a Republican wave year. And he doesn't have as much suburban appeal. Some polls, some very good polls, I've shown it close. He's been down in some Democratic internal polls, but don't necessarily trust those. But, the polls have been pretty good there. They're historically accurate there, although in 2014 they weren't that accurate. But David Perdue, I do expect to be able to win by a lean margin, but it is a sign that the state of Georgia is changing. So after the lean states, Republicans are 49. The only lean state for the Democrats, I do believe, will be the state of Arizona. Now, I am putting this at lean margin, but I think it's basically on the cusp of being likely. You have Mark Kelly here, who is a very strong fundraiser, basically doubling Martha McSally in terms of fundraising. He's up a lot in terms of the polls right now, almost double digits in some polls, but I can't necessarily trust those too much, and I think as of now, he's probably winning by just under 5 percentage points, but he's very, regardless, he's in a very strong position, Mark Kelly, and I do expect him to win quite comfortably against Martha McSally, who's an awful candidate, and she, even a lot of Republicans are saying that she deserves to lose. So Republicans are at 49 seats after the lean margin states. Democrats are at 48. Now, the tilt margin states here first, I do believe that Iowa is a tilt Republican state. We haven't had a poll here since July. The last poll we had here was from the Des Moines Register, which is the gold standard of Iowa polls. They got 2016 right, and in 2020 they did have Teresa Greenfield up by 3 percentage points here, and that is very good for her. She's not doing that well in fundraising. She's a little bit behind Joni Ernst, which isn't too bad considering Joni Ernst is an incumbent, but she is a pretty good candidate. She has a good history. She's running a very rural-based campaign, which can stop a lot of those rural trends towards the Republicans in the state of Iowa. Iowa is it's also a very swingy state. You look at Chuck Grassley, who won by around 30 points in 2016. You look at 2012, Obama won by 6. 2016, Trump won by 9.5. 2018, Democrats won the popular vote in the House races. So all that considered, it's a very swingy state. I do believe it will be close, but at least for now, I do believe it's very narrowly in Joni Ernst's column. But then I do believe that both North Carolina and Maine are tilt Democratic states, putting the overall Senate map at 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans, as I have had it for a very long time. North Carolina, you just had the debate recently. It wasn't that great for Cal Cunningham. He said some not so great things in terms of what people thought of the debate. But he is ahead a lot in the polls right now. He's ahead a lot in the fundraising. Tom Tillis is pretty unpopular. He's not a great candidate. Cal Cunningham is a good candidate. He was an Army veteran from Iraq and Afghanistan. He was a state senator, and he's pretty likable guy. Looking at it from an objective standpoint, and he's doing quite well, and it's showing right now. And North Carolina is a very ticket-splitting state, and Donald Trump's not going to win the state by much if he even does win it. And so I do believe that is going to help Cal Cunningham down ballot, and I do believe Cal Cunningham will be able to win. In Maine, you have Susan Collins going up against Sarah Gideon. You also have Lisa Savage, the Green Party candidate. You have ranked choice voting in this state, though, so, Lisa Savage has said, I want my first choice to be Sarah Gideon, so that will help Sarah Gideon. You also just had a debate recently here. Sarah Gideon was hitting Susan Collins where she is unpopular on the things like impeachment, things like the health care, things like the Kavanaugh vote, the tax law, things like that. And, Maine's quite an interesting state. It's a very independent state. It's got 2 moderate senators, Angus King, Susan Collins. It's run by Democrats overall, but it has trended red in recent years, but I do expect Sarah Gideon to be able to narrowly win. She's leading in virtually all these polls. We had a recent Quinnipiac poll showing that Sarah Gideon was up by around 12 percentage points or something, and I don't think she's going to win by 12 percentage points, but she is in a very good position right now, and I do expect that to help her winning this election. So again, overall, this is the map I've had for a while. 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans. Some margins are changing, but the overall consensus is the same. The Senate's going to be very close. Republicans do have an opportunity to gain the Senate. In this scenario, Democrats would gain the Senate because Joe Biden would be the president with the vice vice president being Kamala Harris. But overall, 50-50 Senate, going to be very close. Going to keep covering it till the election. We got a couple more Battleground maps to go, and then my final prediction will be just before the election. So thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also join the Discord that is linked down in the description. So again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.